Boom! See all that big healing everyone gets? It's so fucking good, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you beautiful bastards, welcome to Legion Beta, and obviously the pre-patch is available, and many of you guys are like, oh, what happened to this? In my Twitch chat, it was described as the most controversial spec. I think that's a fair shout. I think controversial is a good name for how the current Dispriest plays, and I think it's about time we took a quick look at it as we round out our comparison videos and make sure that everything has been nicely covered. The Dispriest is one of my favorites in Legion. It's also the spec that... It's the only spec, I can tell you the story. Since I started playing the alpha and the beta, since the very day they were released, it is the only spec in the entire game where players have come into dungeons or whatever, and literally the only spec where people have left. Because they couldn't get it to work. It's a spec that people just aren't clear how is this supposed to be done. I would dispel you, bro, but I'm also super cheesed, unfortunately. The Dispriest. Blizzard had a number of goals to achieve with the Dispriest. One was to get the fuck away from the Absorb playstyle because it's bullshit. It doesn't fucking work. Ultimately, they either have to artificially nerf it or hamper it or hamstring it in some way, because obviously if you could just prevent damage, you're always going to be ahead of the guys who simply have to heal damage, right? I mean, that makes sense. You can't have it both ways. And they also wanted to maintain some differentiation from it being just an ordinary healing spec. Because why? Priests have Holy. They already have access to these things. They don't need a straight-up healing spec. Holy covers that. Holy is the turret. Many people would even say boring in comparison to the Dispriest. I think that's a fair shout. So we will be looking at Holy soon. So, how have they gone about that and have they achieved their goals? So, first and foremost, is it still a proactive spec in terms of... The way Dispriest is supposed to work is you would like shield an entire raid in preparation for damage to come. That means Dispriest had to be aware of things that were going to happen in 3 minutes time, in a minute's time, in 30 seconds time, etc, 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 in order to prepare for that oncoming storm of damage. And then, of course, absorb that damage and make sure the raid never took it in the first place. Very cool, very nice. And that was the niche that they wanted to keep. Yes, they absolutely have done that, and I'll explain why later, so don't panic. Why is it controversial? It's going to be controversial for a lot of players, as Dis has had its fair share, and I think this is fair to say before people jump down my throat, of people who picked up a Dispriest because it was super easy to play, because you could spam Powered Shield and everybody, or spam Clarity of Will, and for the most part get really good results out of it. A lot of people found themselves getting places in Mythic Raids and so on and so forth by doing that. And now Dis is nowhere near as easy to play. It's not. It's just simply, it's not. It needs a little bit more work to get done. And players are going to have to do things that raid healers aren't going to have a problem with. That's something they've been dealing with a long time. So firstly, that's going to be mouse over macro, something we're all very much used to. What is the mouse over macro if you're entirely unsure about what I'm talking about? What you'll notice is that I'm DPSing a lot, and I have my DPS target here. Now, what you'll notice is I'm healing people and putting buffs on people, but I'm not actually clicking them. So it's a very simple case of making a macro, and add-ons do this as well, where basically wherever your mouse is pointed, it will cast the spell on that person. This means that you can keep your DPS target in your main focus, and you can have that open there. So a lot of casual players aren't going to be used to doing that, I think, and they're going to find it difficult, which is why I think a lot of people have tried to play Dis and gone, I don't really get this, because they're doing things like clicking people like this, then they're giving them a buff, they're now having to find a DPS target again and do all that kind of nonsense. And that is a huge, huge difference than what they've ever had to deal with in the past. Now, mouse over macros are really easy to make. They take a few minutes. Ordinarily, I don't do that for beta testing because, honestly, I just can't be arsed. And most of the healers just don't need it for the stuff we're going to do. I just came out of a Mythic +6 more of Souls, which was a hell of an interesting until the servers went absolutely kaput. We might DC in here. I'm just letting you know that. Obviously not on this character, on someone else's. But it makes all the difference in the world, and it actually just turns the fun level of the Dispriest up massively. It really turns that up. So we're going to talk about how it plays, and you'll notice that the first few minutes whether this is the spec for you, for somebody who's rolled a traditional healer, and we'll also talk about how this works in raids and how it works in all the different things that make a Dispriest a Dispriest. So let's do the super basics then. You'll notice that I'm putting buffs on people. You can see here, it's called Atonement. I have a number of ways of doing that. So I can put a Power Word Shield on someone, usually the tank, and that will give me a Atonement buff. I also have a single target spell called Plea, which will give atonement to one person. Or I could give, I use a spell called Powered Radiance, which will give atonement to several people. Now, anybody who has atonement will get healed when I deal damage. What this translates to is a very simple system of having 3 or 4 spells, because we also have a spell called Shadow Mend, which is a straight up heal. Those guys all get the atonement buff, yeah? And then you will do DPS in order to heal them. So that changes things like our dot. I have a spell called Purge the Wicked. This is actually a spell that is replaced in the talent system, which is actually Shadow Word Pain. So those dots, it translate into hots. So your Shadow Word Pain on a target is actually renew. It's actually healing people, yeah? And the more dots you have up, the stronger those hots will be, or the more of them there will be. Then for DPS, we have very simple things like Penance, which you can cast on a move, as you can see here. And we have Smites. They removed Mind Blast. Mind Blast was in the early version of the game, but was totally unnecessary. And we have our dot damage, and that's pretty much it. But you do have a little bit of variety of things. So we have things like, we have things like Mindbender. Yeah, this is all going to contribute towards this doing damage aspect of it. You can see when my Mindbender does damage, people are going to get damage. You can see all these heals popping off people's heads. Everything you do that deals damage is going to translate into atonement healing. So it's very cool. You have lots of different options, which gives you the door to do burst healing and stuff like that. All this kind of stuff we're going to get into shortly. So the very simple idea is you have a few simple spells that give this buff, this atonement buff, and a few simple spells which actually do damage that shall allow you to then do some healing. So it's a very, very nice basic system where our guy has just left the dungeon, but luckily it was just a DPS. We're probably going to be fine. What you'll also notice is the cooldown of Power Word Shield, and it does have a cooldown, is actually much, much lower than the atonement buff duration. So you can actually get very cheap atonements out by using Power Word Shield. You get a couple out, which is really nice. Why? The more atonements you have out, the more expensive your plea is going to be. So as you can see, my plea spell is here. This number 2. You can see it's got a 2 next to it. So what you'll notice is if I start putting atonement on more people, you see that number's going up? That's the mana cost of plea going up. Blizzard is working really hard to try and let you know that that's not what you're supposed to be doing at a certain point. You're not supposed to be just going like, plea that guy, and using shitloads of global cooldowns to try and get the atonement buff on. They don't want you doing that. They want you to be using Power Word Shield, they want you to use plea, and they want you to use Power Word Radiance, and use them intelligently in order to get the best amount of atonements out as possible. Ooh, I shielded myself. Wah, wah, wah. Sad times. So, in that vein, the Blizzard has done a lot of guiding, a lot of hand-holding to make sure people can pick this up. I actually think this spec won't truly reach its potential until the next expansion. As long as people take to this and get used to it, I think it's going to be such a wonderful, wonderful spec. But it's already fantastic. It really is one of the most fun specs because it's so fucking involved. You never stop playing with the Disc Priest. Your brain is always working. I really enjoy that instead of I really detest those healers, and you guys will know them, who come in and just fucking like cast Healing Wave or whatever, and then they go AFK for 5 minutes and they put a Riptide up, and that's like the limit of their gameplay. Because I'm a healer, I shouldn't do anything else. Blizzard wants to get out of that habit, and they're trying to work DPS into it as an alternative to just being a straight up healer. Plenty of specs actually have this going on. Not a huge pull, but certainly more than normal. Now then, how about the proactive burst and all that kind of stuff? Well, if you've got a pre-patch, then you'll be getting used to things. Ooh, you're taking some damage there, buddy. Why don't you have a... Oh, pain suppression's on cooldown. You're going to be fine, actually. Now I look at the situation, you're absolutely fine and dandy. Use some sort of active mitigation, I assume, Mr. Boone. You've got to tolerate that pain somehow. Proactively, what you could do is... Your atonement healing isn't diminished by the amount of atonements you have out. The way they've balanced it is your atonement has a duration, yeah? So what you could do is still play like a Disc Priest would. You've got a big scary amount of damage up. You could do things like manage key. You can either maintain a lot of pleas or a lot of atonements individually between DPS spells. Or if you know something big and scary is coming, is you can fire off several Power Word Radiances, like 3 or 4, depending on your talent setup, or your haste, all that kind of stuff. And that will have a lot of atonements up, like 14 or 15 atonements or whatever. That means that healing's not reduced, which means you do absolutely tremendous amounts of healing. And that then plays into our extra ability, which is the artifact ability, called Light's Wrath. Now, Light's Wrath, if we read it here, gains 10% more power depending on how many people have atonement. So when our warrior gets here, we'll find an opportunity to use it for sure. We'll probably blow it. We're not going to be in any trouble in this dungeon, that's for sure, but we'll just do it for the sake of it. Puts out an absolutely enormous heal to heal everybody. So what you can do is set up this burst window, which is very small, because all the atonements that you're casting are eventually going to die and fade off. This means that you can't just keep everybody atoned all the time and just do lol healing. But what you can do is get a lot out, and in those few seconds where all those atonements are still there, you could just put out huge fucking burst healing. If you're a good Disc Priest, you're used to the proactive playstyle, you're going to get such fucking wonderful results out of this thing. It's really well designed. I fucking adore it. I really do. And I'm just hoping it sticks around, honestly. I was fully expecting Blizzard to renege on the idea and give the fuck up on it and just say, well, I don't think this is going to work. So people aren't getting it. People are struggling. They do need to do things like mouse over macros. Is that fair and right? Yeah, it's fair and right. Nothing wrong with learning that stuff. But the problem is, as you guys well fucking know, how many times have you bumped into a fucking healer who doesn't know how to dispel things, let alone manage buffs on a constant basis? But again, that's a learning process people can go through and actually become far better at the game. So I'm all for it. I am all for that. On top of all the other things, the talent system just augments this. So if you don't like what I've already explained to you, you're not going to find any during the Disc Priest. Straight up healing is not really something you can pull off. It's designed about this buff management and doing DPS to get the solid results out of it. It's about looking at your timers and your raiding counters, planning what's going to be happening. Your artifact ability is going to pick up things like people inside your barrier, get huge amounts more healing, setting up more burst. Your mind bender and all those you now think of as an actual burst healing cooldown, which is a wonderful way of changing things like mind bender to be a little bit more interesting than just like a mana regen tool. Really cool ideas going on across the fucking board with this thing. Absolutely adore it. But at the same time, I can see why a lot of people are like, you know what, I got this thing for... let's be a dick and pull all the things. Probably shield the tank while doing this. And fade. And fade. Yeah, we're good. Hopefully we're going to interrupt some people, or we'll get the... Let's dispel that fear. Dispel that fear. Oh, you're a cooldown. Sorry, buddy. I would mass dispel you, but I'm really not going to do that. You can run in fear for a few seconds. You'll be fine. So lots of good intricacies. On top of that, we have a new cooldown, Rapture. So Rapture's been around since the dawn of fucking time, with mana regen aspects to it, passives and all that, tracking it with fucking weak auras. The amount of people who I've seen with the Disc Priest discussion are like, how do I Disc Priest? And what they've been... Oh, there we go. We've got full atonements, everybody. So let's do a Light's Wrath. Watch this thing. It's like a bomb. Woo! Boom. See all that big healing everyone gets? It's so fucking good, man. Really cool. Lots of cool stuff going on with this thing. Adore it. We're going to be watching out for Crushing Grip, I think this boss casts, which is going to, like, slap the tank. So we're going to give it a pain suppression for that. There it is. Pain suppression on you, buddy. And a shield. See the way that shield just got instantly chewed up? Yeah. Love the mobility as well. So I think I've pointed out exactly how the Disc Priest plays, and hopefully, if you're interested in things like can't do that while moving. I wasn't moving. If you're interested in things like mouse over macros, you don't need me to make a guide or anything like that. It does exactly what it says on the tin. You can just Google it, it'll work. And there's the disconnects. We were expecting that. Hopefully that doesn't mean that everyone's going to die. That boss shouldn't kill anybody unless the tank dies to Crushing Grip while I'm not there. We have seen these DCs happening ever since the server restart, which is a pity, but we'll live. We'll absolutely live. We won't have a big deal. This is why I find the Disc Priest so fun. It's so engaging. It's so engaging. It still maintains that absolute niche that makes the Disc Priest so worthwhile. That make the Disc Priest so unique. Yeah? Those niches have still been maintained without having to resort to, can we make absorbs work in some way, right? Which has been the traditional aspect of it. Can we make absorbs benefit without being overpowered? And the tank died. Okay. Ooh, I'm coming. I'm rooted. Oh, shit me. Can I dispel myself? Don't die. Rapture. Oh. Okay, we're going to have to get funky on this. Oh, he's soulstoned. Excellent. Everyone get a shield. Mindbender, go. Crushing Grip will be the problem. Hold on, I've got to focus here. There's Crushing Grip. I don't know if I can barrier him inside there. I don't think so. He's fine. It's fine. Daddy's got you. There we go. Yeah, what? Oh, so the tank DC'd as well. So I could get away without being a shameful display, which is absolutely cool. So let's look at the talents then, which are designed to augment this system. So if we look at the talent system then, we've got some cool things like Penitent may be cast on a friendly target. I wish this talent was removed because I think they need to really make the point clear. You can see you can heal people with this Shadow Mend. Shadow Mend actually applies, what is it? It either prevents healing or applies a dot. I can't remember. One of the two. But if people are already taking damage, then it won't do anything. It's like, oh shit, he's already gone. Whee! Let me get there, bro. These things explode. He's fine. So, Penitent, which allows penance to be cast on friendly targets. I do wish they'd remove that. Castigation, which I'm doing, which is penance fires one additional bolt of holy, which is something that's really cool, because obviously I'm using it for its healing component. And Schism. Attack an enemy soul with a surge of shadow energy, dealing 52,000 shadow damage, increasing the damage you deal to the target by 30% for 6 seconds. So you get this mini burst, yeah? For a 6-second cooldown, and it's a buff that you're going to maintain. So it's very similar to something like Archangel. Yeah, you have that similar playstyle that you've had in the past. That's only a 1.2 second cast. It's really cool. It's something that's really quite nice to play. Usual movement speed shit down here. Shine Force, which is actual knockback. Do I want to use that here? Probably not. I'll find an opportunity to do it, but it's a very big knockback, honestly. Oh, boo! Look how far they got knocked back. Isn't that weird? It's so weird to be able to do that. Let's move down then. So Power Word Solid still remains, but Mindbender I love because it's also a burst heal. But it is still Power Word Solid. It strikes enemy with heavenly power, dealing holy damage and restoring maximum mana. Only when I've been doing a lot of Power Word Radiance spam, which is in some dungeons, have I noticed that mana's been a problem. Like in normals and stuff, you're not going to have any issues whatsoever. Shield Discipline. When your powered shield is completely absorbed, so it's the old Rapture. Yeah, the old Rapture, which is when your powered shield is absorbed, you'll gain some mana back. Again, not really been necessary for me so far, but if you do run into mana heavy situations where you're being cut, if it ever goes the way of Warlords of Draenor, I think this is worth having a little talking point, is people are trying to use Dis in the pre-patch in WoD environment, but the WoD environment is not Legion. The raids are very, 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 very different. It works very, very differently. So try not to be like, yeah, but I've tried this Preacher. It is fun, but it sucks. You're using it in WoD. You're not using it in the expansion it's designed to be worked in, right? So please understand that. Who do we have? Contrition. Increase the atomic duration by 2 seconds. I love this. Just makes the whole thing do a little bit more DPS time. They just last that little extra second while you're setting things up. Great while you're getting used to things. Power Infusion is actually fantastic. Why? In a raid environment, I was talking earlier about putting out a lot of powered radiances. During Power Infusion, you get like an extra powered radiance. That magnifies your healing and stuff so fucking much. Getting that extra powered radiance out, putting those 3 more buffs out is so fucking cool. It really helps out a lot. Absolutely adore that. Twist of Fate. Not really liked Twist of Fate, which is just the buff, the typical buff that we've had for Priest for a while. Doesn't seem to fit the current playstyle, in my opinion. I do want to throw out a few... Oh, come on, use a spell, bro. I want to put out a few atonements here, as we are formatting this boss, as you can see. Can cast Penance on the move. Yeah. Daddy's got you. No need to worry, bro. Daddy's got you. You're all good. So Clarity of Will is still in the game. Okay, again, it's something I kind of wish they'd remove, because I just hope it doesn't become a thing that's worth having. Don't stand in front of a dragon. You guys never fought a dragon before? Stand in front of a fucking dragon? Are you fucking stupid, man? Who stands in front of a fucking dragon? Tank stand in front of a dragon. You don't stand in front of a dragon. Bro, what are you doing to me, man? What are you doing to me? You guys are just, you're making me sad. Divine Star, love it for 5 mans. Obviously Halo in raids. Purge the Wicked. So I said it replaces Shadow and Pain. What does it do? Purge the Wicked puts this Holy Fire style dot on, but when you penance, it actually spreads to nearby targets. Great for 5 mans, great for mythics. I usually put out a couple of them because they're still instant cast. It doesn't have a cooldown or anything. Look, I can spam this thing. Put out a couple of them and then start penance spreading it depending on the amount of mobs. That gets a really nice heal over time going on everybody. Very, very cool. Really like that style of play. Grace, increase your non-atonement healing and absorption by 30% on targets with atonement. Now, that doesn't promote non-atonement healing. It actually just makes you, if you're going to be doing a lot of shadow mends and stuff, really buffs all those spells up. Okay? Very, very cool. I'm stood in front of a dragon. Good God. Don't turn a dragon towards other people, bro. Come on, bro. Bro, please. I'm trying to read talents here in the middle of a boss fight. Give me a break. I know Shadow Covenant. Replacing your Shadow Word Radiance. This is your AoE heal. It draws on the power of Shadow to heal up to 5 injured allies within 30 yards of the target for 56,000, but leaves a shell on them that absorbs the next 30,000 healing they receive within 6 seconds. What I found is in group scenarios, now I haven't done any raiding because I'm purposely avoiding it so I can have fun when it actually goes live. So I can't comment too much on this because there isn't many scenarios where it's actually useful that I can get into. But I'm told by the Disc Priest that I borrow for my 110 testing with all the artifact stuff that it's actually pretty cool in a lot of scenarios. So that's what I can say on that, but can I confirm it myself? No, I can't. And I'm not going to lie to you guys and say, oh, it's amazing. I've never had a reason to use it. But there it is. So his talents all are little twists, little plays on this system, but the system still works absolutely wonderfully, right? Which is something I think needs so much praise. If you're watching this and thinking, I can get behind this, yeah? It also opens the door for people who've played DPS for a while to actually play something they understand. It's healers, or long-term healers, who aren't really getting it. DPSers who've been managing things like living bombs and all that kind of stuff for so fucking long, they're going to be absolutely fine with this, and they're going to be able to switch to this. Shadow Priests are going to have no problem dealing with this, because they've been shielding friends forever, while keep doing dots and doing damage, putting out vampiric embraces, all that kind of stuff. They've been doing that for a while now, so this stuff is like not new to them. And I really like that it opens the door for people to do more and have just more enjoyable and a more engaging fucking experience while healing. Healing isn't the most fun thing ever. We all know that. Sometimes it's just super boring. And as expansions go on, it gets less and less interesting, which isn't the way it's supposed to be. And I think they've nailed it on the head while keeping the uniqueness away from for Holy and Dis, for being totally separate, being completely different playstyles. One just puts out huge amounts of burst turret healing, while the other one is the proactive style. And that, for me, is fucking awesome. So I don't have much else to tell you here. Everything else is still the same. We still have barrier, we still have pain suppression, we still have all those things. Other than that, I'm just going to enjoy the last boss here and just say, I'm so happy that Blizzard didn't renege on actually keeping the spec as it is. They could have gone back on their word. Or not on their word, that's the wrong phrase to use. They could have thought, this is too much for people to handle. Like we've seen with things like Survival and Outlaw, where they were like, let's change it, but not too much, right? Let's change it, but not too much. Don't want people to get, like, frightened or whatever. Nah, they've gone like, this is what we're doing with this. This is what we think works. We like it. We hope you like it as well. And I fucking love it. I absolutely fucking love it. So what I might do is do a little guide for the super basics to set this thing up so you can have a lot of fun with it. If you don't set it up properly with things like mouse overs and get used to DPSing and managing buffs properly, I've seen people, I think I said earlier, asking for weak aura strings for this. Longer than my dick, man. Like I need a giant weak aura fucking string to track every second. I mean, it's pretty fucking basic even on the standard UI. I just don't get it. Let's go. I was actually going to say, look how cool this is. Like Feed the Weak, which is a debuff that he puts on a random player. When you have these kind of debuffs as a Disc Priest, you're just literally so easy to deal with. Because you just stick Atonement on that guy and you're just healing him for like max. It's so cool. Let's see, what's that? Oh, it's growing paranoia. So he's going to start fearing people. If he's, you see that red circle there? He's going to start fearing people if he's not careful. So we're going to get ready for that. Right, Feed the Weak's on him. So all I do is plea him and just keep DPSing. And he's getting all the healing he needs from those pesky debuffs. And it's like having, basically, really mini, short-term beacons of light. Like for a pally. Oh, let's see if we get a big burst heal out. Light's Wrath! Boo! Well, no one needed the heal, but still, it was cool. It was cool nonetheless. So I'm gonna claim that. I'm gonna chalk that up as a W. I like that. That was cool. No one needed the heal. Are you gonna Feed the Weak again? No way. Why did the tank get Feed the Weak? I don't think I've ever seen the tank get Feed the Weak, and this one got it twice. That's really interesting. He's getting like all the debuffs. Can I dispel this guy? What the fuck? Oh, it's on cooldown. I already did it. Okay. I have a huge microphone in my face because my office is all like destroyed. If you saw Drama Time, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The Disc Priest, ladies and gents. The Disc Priest. So much fucking fun. It's easily one of my best healers in Legion. Can't wait to play it as like an alt in raids and goof around in it on LFR. I'm not a main healer. I'm never going to be a main healer. I'm never going to be the best healer ever. Well, I could do if I focused on it, but I don't want to do that. But I hope you guys give it a try, and I hope I've learned a little bit now on how it's supposed to work, if you're a little confused from the pre-patch. And generally just give it a fucking blast, man, because it's so good. I'm out. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.